Okay, we're ready.
Okay.
That's Ashley.
Okay, Ashley. Okay, I think we're ready. So we want to welcome everybody to Portsmouth Coffee Talk PM. And before we get started, I want to do a little something. And first, I want to say I don't own the rights to this, but I think one of the people on our screen here does.
Okay. You can't hear it.
Hold up. I'll start it again.
Yeah, put up and see. We'll sit up more. I guess that's what best is gonna do.
I see you, young man. You know that song, Mr. Chris?
Norcom High School.
Yes.
All right, that got a rise out of the Norcom Greyhounds, and that was, of course, the Norcom Rock.
Yes.
And welcome everybody to the PM version of the Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And tonight I'm here. I'm yours truly, James Slim Overton. We're here, and with a co-host, Leah Drake-Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. And tonight, of course, we have a special guest with us, and none other than the legendary band leader at IC Norcom, Manor Mustang High School, and Norfolk State University, Mr. Emery Fields. How you doing, Mr. Fields?
Quite well for the old man.
Oh. Well, you're in good company here. So welcome to the show. And we really appreciate you agreeing to come on and talk to us about your career, your band career. But I want to start here, and because you're not original Portsmouth resident, so the story that brought you here, because and Norcom wasn't your first job as a band director. I believe you were in Louisiana at a
New Orleans.
New Orleans, okay. New Orleans. What a great place to start a band.
Yeah,
in New Orleans.
In the French Quarter.
The French Quarters?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's great.
Jean-Jacques.
What is it?
Really, those are the kind of names they had.
Jean-Jacques.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all a mixture of French and French and Spain and everything. But before we go on to that, how did you get interested in music? I think your first instrument was the clarinet. How did you get started with that? Because that's where it all started. It had to start from somewhere.
Well, my hometown is Tuskegee. And the Tuskegee band used to play on Sundays. You could hear, they would march to chapel. Everybody in school, they had on uniforms and they marched to chapel. And I didn't live that far away, and I could hear the music. And sometimes my mother would have to come get me because I'd go to a pot top, and empty lot next to me, and I beat on the while they were marching the chapel. The whole school marched the chapel. They had on uniforms, and I would get my mama's pot tops and bang away and wake up all the neighbors, and mama had to come get me. And that's how I started music. But listening to the band every Sunday. That's how they went to chapel. Had a beautiful chapel there, and that's how I got my start, beating on those pot tops.
And this was in
Well-
Tuskegee. This was in Tuskegee?
Tuskegee.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't live that far from the campus. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tuskegee Institute. Very good.
Was that your undergrad school, Tuskegee?
No, they didn't have music. But I
they
played
didn't
in
have
the
music.
Tuskegee college band when I was in high school. I got a chance to take some lessons, and they needed some more, so I played clarinet in the college band all through high school. So I got to march on Sunday.
You went
And
from,
football games and all that.
you went from
So
beating
you
on the
actually-
pots and pans to marching in with the band on Sundays and homecoming games and
Mhm.
football games.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
as long as I got the cow milk, I was okay.
Okay.
So
To this day, I
So
don't
you
like
wanted to-
milk.
So you wanted to continue at a school that had a musical program so you could continue in music. What was it your aspirations to be a band director or music teacher, or what was the motivation for that?
Man, I wanted to play with Count Basie.
Oh, wow.
Loved Count Basie even in those days. And a lot of my friends, even when I was grown, played with Basie.
Okay.
And I got, it's a long story.
Yeah.
I got cold feet when it came to, they needed a saxophone player, and I was told that I'm not going to marry you if you're going to be going on the road.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That was the end of the Basie experience.
He was given an
Yeah.
ultimatum.
Yeah.
being a member of those bands was a whole different lifestyle. So you had to make a choice one way or the other. Yeah. So I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
At least coming from us here in Portsmouth, it brought you here to Portsmouth at Norcom. So tell us how you picked Portsmouth or IC Norcom to come to after teaching about a year and a half in the school in New Orleans.
Well, I had an uncle that worked in the government printing office. And the government printing office had a big book like a Sears and Roebuck catalog, and it had every school in the country in that book. And I was in working summers in Ohio, working in a rubber plant. That's real dirty work. You just wore pants because you come out black every day. But anyhow, I didn't want to get too far from Ohio at the time because I had a child. And so I got this book and I opened it up to Virginia because that wasn't too far, right? And I opened the book and where do I want to go? And I closed my eyes. This is the truth. And put my finger down there and said, Portsmouth, Virginia. And I called Portsmouth, Virginia. Doggone it, they hired me. So
They
I
must
guess
have been looking for.
I was meant to be there.
It was divine intervention.
Yeah, that's
That's
how
awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And did they have an organized band already? That you
yeah, they
walked
had
into?
a band director. His name was Dirk Copeland. He was an
Yes.
elderly gentleman, and
Yes.
they didn't have about 20 or 30 people in there, but they could play. They could play very well. So one or two of them are still living.
You know, I heard his name for the first time at church. One of the ladies at church, she was one of the majorettes in his band. And she brought the pictures in from the band when she was in it. And when she was in the band, that's Miss Dolores Smith. She marched under him as a majorette.
Dolores
Dolores Smith. Her name was Norfleet. I think Dolores Norfleet Smith.
I kind of remember that.
Uh-huh.
They were the first majorettes I had.
Yeah, the first majorettes at Norcom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Wow.
And one more question, Mr. Fields, before the other co-hosts chime in. You know, in the beginning, I played the Norcom Rock, and it was a routine for that when you're on the field. One thing, how soon was it, or how long did it take you to, when you were at Norcom, before you came up with the Norcom Rock? What was the motivation for that? And who came up with that routine that the band members are still doing today?
Well, one of my favorite bands to watch was the University of Michigan. And they used to do dance routines. A lot of them do dance routines, but theirs was more style, less messing around. So I patterned my dance routine after what they did, because I went to Michigan later on and learned how they do it. But I did that before I had gone there. So and we did that those steps with it. I had learned steps like that at Michigan. And so that's how that started.
So the last time you saw the Norcom students doing it, were they doing it correctly? Because I remember one time you came to Norcom and you said that something wasn't right in which they were doing.
Well, they just changed over the time. They changed over the years, you know, so it was a little bit different from what we did.
Uh-huh.
Because although it was dancing, it was a little more military.
Yes. Yes.
Very snappy.
Uh-huh.
And kids don't do that now.
Right.
So, yeah, because the music doesn't call for it, and what they listen to doesn't lend itself to anything snappy.
So what made you come up with the Norcom Rock? I mean, what was the motivation for that? You needed something that Norcom could call their own?
Yeah, we needed something to get the crowd going all the time. Because they were always, then somebody was always coming up with something that you didn't do. You play somebody, they do this, you know. Shaw, when we got to Norfolk State, but they were good for doing things like that. And they were all their people were people I had taught in Manor and Norfolk State. Yeah, they came to Norfolk State and laid us low. I remember that,
Yeah.
And one thing, Mr. Fields, when that band marched up High Street, everybody followed them up High Street until they got to the end of High Street. And I think that's why they always put them at the end of the parade. So this way, because they knew that everyone was going to leave when the band marched through.
Well, yeah, that's right.
And I have to ask this.
Lee Ward was probably the best one I had at the time.
Uh-huh. Lee Ward.
Lee Ward was drum major.
Okay, drum major. Yes, yes. Okay.
Mr. Fields, I have to ask this though, and Leah mentioned that the Norcom band was always the band in the end. Was that the real reason? Was it another reason that they might have been the last band, you know, right behind the horses?
We had problems with that because they insisted on putting things like that in front of us. And
you had to just march through it.
That was a policeman. I won't call his name, but he was in charge of this same parade. And I wouldn't, you know, we had problems with that because I wasn't marching behind those horses and the girls trying not to step in and all that stuff.
Yes.
We had problems with horses. Then they put that big old thing to shoot guns there.
Yes.
They put that. I wasn't on march behind. I was a pick-spad boy. Because I had a time with the police on that because they wanted me to put me behind all that. And I didn't want nobody avoiding the output of the horses, and so they always put us at the back because that's where the crowd was.
That's where the crowd was.
They either put those horses in front of us or that thing that shoot guns.
Yeah, that shipyard boat that
Yeah, we did have
shoot
some
off and scare everybody.
we did have some problems, and I don't know who the guy was in charge of. He was a policeman. He didn't like me, and I didn't like him. So I spoke my mind, which I don't do now because I'm married.
Because you're married.
Yeah.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
It was a different time back then, and I can think of some reasons why you might have been last, but I think it was a crowd pleaser for you all to be last. I just never appreciated horses in front of you,
Exactly.
that was kind of degrading to me.
I got that removed. They finally moved it
Yeah.
because I raised so much cane about it.
And Mr.
And
Fish, you-
then when they didn't have the horses, then they had that thing to shoot.
uh-huh.
Yeah, the majoress of there.
Yeah.
So we had a time with them. It's all right.
And in the 60s, Mr. Fields, you had an award-winning band. You all won many, many awards. You went to the Indianapolis 500, third place at the Cherry Blossom Parade, and so many other awards you all won during that time. Could you talk about that? Going to the Cherry Blossom, going to Indianapolis.
Let me see which one was first. I believe Indianapolis was first. What had happened was Purdue University.
Mm-hmm.
Their band director saw me somewhere and invited me to do his summer clinic, one of the bands in his summer clinic. And so I went there, and the kids followed me around because I was a sacred black bull and the only black there. And they thought I was charming or something. And so he invited me to the Indianapolis 500. And that's how we got there, because the kids, I started going to his band camp every summer. I was the only one invited. The kids just, and send them. The kids were asking for me. And they would go, and the band directors at lunch, they would go drink. I didn't care about it. I didn't drink. So I just hung out with the kids and ate lunch with them, And the only reason I did it for about 8-10 years. And, because I was the only one that invited back, because the kids asked for me.
Uh-huh.
We broke down a lot of barriers in those days, a lot of barriers. So, yeah, I was doing the Purdue thing in the summer.
Okay, and then the Cherry Blossom came along, and you all came in third place in the Cherry Blossom.
Yeah, that was one of them. That for me was just, I don't know why, because all of the bands that won, Portsmouth, Ohio, Portsmouth, Maine, I believe, and Norcom.
Uh-huh.
There were three bands that won were from Portsmouth.
From a Portsmouth. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
He got in third place and should have got more, but that's all right. That was something, because that was a hard parade.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Fears, it's interesting you talk about it, and I'm listening to you, and I can tell that some of your Louisiana, New Orleans history was enveloped into what you taught, right, when you were doing the bands, and with emphasis on the brass sections, and going down the street with the Mardi Gras, and those, I forgot what they call it, the death parade, and with the hats and all that, and you did that with your majorettes and stuff like that. And so, can you talk about the influences of where you lived and how you put your programs on, and how they developed into what you did?
Well,
so the influences of your early life.
Back in those days when the NFL had bands doing halftime shows, and they were doing real halftime shows, and I got a lot of it from there. from that way. And then I had some ideas of my own, you know, and I started going to Michigan and learned how to pick up the feet. In fact, we had a saying, pick up your feet, play your part, and drive, drive, drive. They got that from Michigan. And, you know, so I learned from different places, Michigan at that time had a great band, great marching band, not now. But I mean, they don't bother with things like that. So at the time, and I went and got my master's from Michigan. And of course, the guy who was teaching that took a liking to me, and he taught me a lot of stuff even out of class. And the good thing about it with Kavanaugh was when he could go in, I remember one time he had engagement and he couldn't make it, and he called me and asked me to take his place. And I was really, you know, whatever.
And Mr. Fears, we had you from 1952 to 1972 at Norcom High School. A good run, an absolutely fantastic run as a band director at Norcom High School. But then after 1972, you made a transition, and you transitioned to the Manor Mustangs. And I know you didn't leave Norcom because I know that your heart was still at Norcom, but you went on to Manor. And tell us why you went on to Manor High School.
Well, they made me like a assistant principal over certain areas. I was over music and shops and art and things like that. And so that was a little promotion. So that they had all new instruments. Of course, when I stepped in front of the band, it looked like Norcom anyhow, but half of them.
The Norcom students followed you there, huh?
Yeah, a whole lot of them. Yeah, so they were very, very, very quick, very smart.
That's a testimony
But
to
the smart was the one that came over.
Testimony of your great abilities to teach, that they would want to follow you to another school just to be in your band.
Well, whatever, they were there.
They were there. Colonel, you had something to say?
Yeah, Mr. I was looking at you. What's the medal on your chest?
The star.
The star.
Star. Service to Music Medal. It's called as a band fraternity that I didn't belong to at the time. Kappa Kappa Psi. It's an international band fraternity.
Okay.
And when I get ready to retire at Norfolk State, a guy came over there. In fact, he was at Morgan and presented this medal to me as a part of that. At the time, there weren't too many of us in there, not too many Ethiopians in there. So I'm very proud of that. Yeah, so I wear it when I can because it looks good.
And it looks good on you.
Thank you.
It looks good on you. Yes.
And when you were at Norfolk State, Mr. Fears, I remember for some reason I had to come to your office to get something or to ask you something about Norcom, and you had a sign on your door. And that sign on your door said what?
Don't bring me no bad news.
Don't bring me no bad news.
Yeah, that's from the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I meant that because they were always bringing me something that didn't mean anything. Take me out of things, you know. Don't bring me no bad news. Fix it yourself. That's
Fix
what
it yourself. So how long were you at Norfolk State University, Mr. Fears?
How long was I there? I do remember that. I just had to go back and think. When did I come over there? 1974 to 1990.
I
think.
So you were there about 17 years, 17?
Yeah, 74 to 90.
Uh-huh. And you
And
train
retired.
a lot of band directors who've gone out to teach other students.
Oh yeah, we got had some pretty good guys out there. One boy out there, one kid from Portsmouth named Almond, Almond. What's his
Yeah.
first name? He went out to California and just set him upside. He's going to be in the. I mean, last year he was in the Rose Bowl particular thing, and got and this year he got what you call it, man. So this year in January, Norfolk State is going to be in the Rose Bowl parade.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
In
Behold
fact,
the
they
green and
brought
gold.
the flag in today, and they had some kind of ceremony about it.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know how they're going to pay for this. It's tremendous.
I can imagine.
Norfolk State will be in the Rose Bowl parade this year.
Okay, that is wonderful.
But I don't go over there and bother. So.
Well, you know, but I did have one question. When you took the Norcom students on those trips, like to Indianapolis and to the Azalea Festival, how did they pay for those trips?
We raised money. I think we sold donuts most of the time.
The good old donut sale.
Yeah, but now because it's not that much. They get money. I don't know how to get it because I don't know how they're gonna pay to go out there because it's gonna be up in the hundreds of thousands to go out there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Maybe the Rose Bowl parade will give an honorarium and pick up some of the costs because they'll have to.
I doubt that.
You don't think
They
so?
don't have to. The people are dying to get in there.
Yeah.
Well, we have some graduates who are some big money makers. Hopefully they will come forth and help the band to get there, you know?
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about how they're raising money. But I guess they are.
Yeah.
Ms. Fierce, who named the Marching Legion? Where'd that name come from?
That's my miss.
It's yours. I thought so. It's a classic.
I don't know why I call it. They were marching Spartans, and when I first came over there, the band was so bad, I almost got fired because they were walking around with signs. They 5 fears, called us the crawling Spartans, and especially after Shaw came over there with my people and lit us up pretty bad. So we had to do something. I didn't know what to do. So one guy named, they called him Scope because he had thick glasses, but he came in and brought us an arrangement he had done for Booker T. And what was that thing we did? I'm trying to remember what we did. What the name of the music was.
Miss Fierce, I think I have that. Hold on just a minute.
James is our official DJ.
What was
What I say here, behold the Spartan legion as they pass and review. They sound the call to battle. The challenge is set to thy view. For the coming victory is foretold. Behold, behold, the mighty
I think I remember you saying, you got that Legion thing because you've gone to the movies and saw the robe or something like that, and where the Romans would do that and have that, and that was the start of the marching legions, and that song was the introduction to that, I believe.
Yeah, you could, because the guy who wrote all our tunes, probably the best in the country, and he did that, and he wrote that for us. But we were in, what you call them? I'm trying to remember something. It was a well-known song, and I don't remember. I just remember that we put a box on the field.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And the girl was in the box. And we
Fire.
marched to the box and went that way, and the box flew open, and the girl came out there, and Graham wanted to go home. We ran Graham off the field with it, but I can't remember the name of the music.
That was Fire by Ohio Players.
Fire, yes.
Yeah, I remember that routine.
Yeah. We bought fire, boom, 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 and then boom. She pulled a string, and she had on a leotard. It left nothing to the imagination. That helped a lot. And when she came out of that leotard with the fire extinguisher, I got all that from the fire department. They gave us everything we wanted. And we came out there, and Graham, after we came off the field, Graham was bumping all down on each other. And they weren't half prepared because they didn't think nobody ever heard in Norfolk State. And that's saved my job.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
Turning point. That's all you need. Turn that corner.
Yeah, we
But
turned
you
the field.
You talk about those times with Norfolk State, and the rivalries between the HBCUs was tremendous. Even during that time, your first years there, you were still in the CIAA and Union and Elizabeth City and Shaw. But one school that crossed the water that gave you some problems was Hampton University. And I remember I heard a story about you saying you all met one time and they had spies, and they went on before you all and had sort of borrowed your whole routine.
They did our show. They had copied somebody in our band, and had a girlfriend in there, and she conned that guy out of our papers that we use, our stuff that we use, and they came and did our exact show before us.
And what did you do? Did you all get on the field and do it again after them?
They went over before we did, and it looked like we copied them.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
payback is something though. I think y'all had a chance to get them back.
And we got them back good, plenty of time. But they really stole our show. I asked them, man, why you? I talked to the band director after that. He said, man, this president I got, I had to do something. Them ain't gonna fire me. So they copied our show. I'm not too sure who the guy was that gave it away either. I have my idea.
You should have found that.
So we mopped the floor every time we played them after that. And then we used to, when we played Hampton, we would never practice on our own field. We would practice at various high schools all around. We never, because they were just following us everywhere.
So they can take that behold the green and gold routine. Wait till I talk to my son.
Whatever routine we had, they had.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
We even practiced in the gym. They were looking out there, crawling, looking in the windows, and had a ladder and all that. There was something. At the time, that's what it was.
That competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that competition was fierce. And
Fierce, that's for sure.
and it made for good halftime shows. remember going to Norfolk State games or a lot of HBCU games, and it was one of the few places at halftime where people would stay seated
Mhm.
because and they would get up after halftime and go get their refreshments,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
And the game was secondary, you know, unfortunately, but the halftime show was the price of the ticket.
It was
You
all
know?
about the music. That's exactly what
Yeah,
it
it's all
was.
about the music.
All about
And
the music.
even now, I'll go to the game and we'll be late for the game, but long as I make it for the halftime show, then I'm good. Yeah, then we good.
But you know, when we talked to Horace Savage and talked to him about his players and track and football, you know, it was beyond that. And I think it was the same for you. You had the band members, but it was beyond, you know, it was about excellence in the band, but you took that beyond the band because you had to prepare those students for life out there. Some of them continued with the band, like the Briggs girl that played the violin. She wasn't in the band, but she did a lot of performances with you all. And but some people went on to different things, but that discipline they learned in the band because y'all used to practice like the football team. You know, and that discipline took them in other areas in their life and, you know, sort of stuck with them. So it was more than just being in the band, even though that was a big part of their college and high school life. But a lot of band members, and I see quite a few are watching now. I can see on Leah's page, former band members that are watching or just remember the bands because it was just more than that. You know, you were an educator first, and I think a band leader second.
Band director afterwards, that's for sure.
You know, that's an interesting question, though. I've always asked is that the people in the band, are they all, or the majority of them, what percentage of them are music majors?
No, oh no, not a great percentage. Not a great percentage, you know. Maybe 20%, something like that. 30 maybe. But they just like what they were doing. And it's because we taught so many things besides music. You know, they had to be on time, and of course it was called smelling the fumes. We left on time, and okay, when it's time to go, we were on that bus and we left. And if we saw you coming, I wasn't picking them up. Maybe another bus would, but we had some that got left. But they got to the game wherever we were going. So yeah, we would leave them.
So you taught them discipline.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure most of them that got left, it just happened one time. No, the next time they probably learned, you know, no, it better not miss that.
We had one guy that the oldest kid left.
But he would make it to the game, huh? He would make it to the game though, right?
He always caught a ride.
Uh-huh.
I remember I didn't know we had left him, really. They're supposed to tell you. You know, I'm not going to look up and say, okay, is everybody here? Your seatmate was supposed to say you were or were not. And of course, we were going to leave him anyhow, but his seatmate didn't say nothing. Because we said, okay, everybody here? And his seatmate was asleep. And nobody else said it to say. And we were way up the road somewhere, and here comes was that the time? No, that's not the time, but this is the same guy. Because we went for a restroom break, and we were going, and this guy's evidently his seatmate was asleep, and here comes this police, the state police, wide open, and stopped us, and he come out there. He was in the bathroom. He was always in something. He was a character. So we all had characters always.
Ms. Fields, I think a lot of people that came to the games and watched the band members, and it was a certain section of that band that they stepped high and they were like the soldiers of the band, and they also had a purpose. Those guys that were protecting the dancers,
Spartan Guard.
Spartan God,
The
and a
Spartan
lot of people
Guard.
didn't know that was their sole purpose. Well, one of the
They
purposes.
had to protect the girls, because see, people always come around and pinching on the girls.
Uh-huh.
And we had the Spartan girl. But the best one we had was a guy named Clink Scales. Clink Scales would let his mama through that. And he was one of the greatest ones that I remember. They still operate.
Uh-huh.
They still operate, but I remember him. He was working his way through school, taking one course at a time. So he was in the band a long time. But he got his degree. He passed away a couple of years ago. The
Uh-huh.
name was Clink Scales. Spartan Guard. He was really, and they take that seriously,
Uh-huh.
very seriously. I know a certain band director later tried to walk through the band and they wouldn't let her through. And she came out there and laid me out. I won't let me. I said, they don't let me through the band.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. They're
I
doing their
go
job.
around. Yeah.
They're
So
doing
she
their
like-
job.
She was a band director too, but I won't go over her name.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you don't break that line.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And they still, I think they're just like that now, still to this day.
And Mr.
Yeah.
Fields, what about discipline? When you took the Norcom students or the Norfolk West, I'm talking about the high school students now. When you took them on the road to go to Indianapolis or to go to the Cherry Blossom Festival, did you have any problems with them in the hotel rooms? Any problems with
Oh,
discipline?
please. Yeah, the worst one was when we went to Indiana, because I hadn't had that kind of experience with them before. And they riding up and down the elevator in their underwear, and so we had a hard time. But
Uh-huh.
after that, we got the things down pretty well.
Uh-huh.
Although a certain guy fell through a chair. I mean, he jumped off a balcony to another balcony and fell through a chair.
Oh my goodness.
And I took the chair. I went down to check him out the next morning, and I said, I want to pay for the chair. How much? Because we broke a chair. He said, you don't have to pay anything. He said, you the quietest group we ever had.
Oh my goodness.
And then, yeah, so, and that was in the beach, Atlantic City.
Atlantic City. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what
Uh-huh.
we did. We played for the boxing.
Uh-huh.
Trump Plaza.
Uh-huh. Trump Plaza.
Trump Plaza,
Ooh.
and Mr. Trump, of course, let us eat in his private dining room,
Oh my goodness.
and the stuff was solid gold.
Oh.
I didn't get anything to eat because I kept going around and said, man, please don't, no souvenirs. So evidently nobody took anything.
So he allowed you all into his private dining room. And that was because that was only because you were excellent. Because if you were not excellent, he would not have even had you in there.
Yeah, well, major rest were the ring girls.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when Sweet Pea Whitaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Pea Whitaker wouldn't go anywhere without us.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh, Sweet Pea.
Mm.
Yes, indeed.
Lord have mercy.
Sometimes.
Mr. Fields, let me take you back to Norcom there for just a minute. Back in those days when it wasn't equal, it wasn't fair for some of the schools, especially at Norcom, before integration. And I had a classmate of mine talked about a situation where one time you had ordered some kettle drums and were excited about those kettle drums coming. And when they came to the school system, Wilson got them. And she said it was motivation for that band to be just as excellent as they could be, because all things weren't fair. So they had to just go that extra mile and make sure they outshine any band in the city of Portsmouth. And during the spring festivals, they had to make sure they always got the ones, ratings. But things weren't fair, during certain times for supplies for Norfolk, but they made
Yeah, they must
way.
take after me. I didn't have that problem.
Oh,
Really?
you got what?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with instruments. So
Okay.
Wilson didn't get anything we didn't know anything about. And then we had other sources of getting the instruments too, because we were in with the Navy, and the Navy survey and stuff. We got a lot of it, and there was nothing matter with it. Just they just had them a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So
you just had to make sure you
but
took
we
care of
played
them.
for the Navy. We played for the Navy School of Music, and they liked us so well. We got a lot of stuff from them.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that changes that. But if
that changes that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Fears, if you were starting a band from scratch, and which section, and I'm putting you on the spot, would you put emphasis on to start a band from scratch?
What section?
Yeah, like, or would you percussions, or would you go with the horns, or whatever?
All sections, but I mean, you start with your basic horns, your percussion, always percussion. Because they percussion people are crazy. They'll work all day. I mean, they just love the drums.
Exactly.
They can do it the right way. The percussion is always your go-to people. And everybody, I mean, it was you just try to find out who will and who won't, who can and who won't, who can't. And they should take private lessons, because we never had that kind of money. Because a lot of the bands, when we joined everybody, we found out all those other schools of another persuasion were taking private lessons. We didn't have that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to have sectionals every day. One day I had a flute before school. The next day I'd have the trumps. So I had, that's the way I taught them. That was their private lessons. There's always a way to get around.
It is. And we always had to be creative in how we planned things and how we did things, because we didn't always have everything that we needed to make it happen. Like you said, those kids couldn't go to a private session. So you had to create a way for them to have those private classes as well.
Yeah.
But one person put on here, said, Mr. Fears has touched the lives of hundreds of young people. I fair to say it may be thousands of young people whose lives you've touched.
I agree. And actually more than that, tens of thousands if you count the people in the stands.
Exactly. And Mr. Fears, they recently named a school after you. You want to tell us something about that school?
Oh, Lord, you go. Fella, I'm trying to get to, he started a school, Ash.
Was it in the DC area?
Yeah, for some reason, I talk to him all the time. For some reason, I can't get his name.
That's okay.
And it was just him. And
was he one of your band? Was he one of your band students?
Some of them went to college, but it didn't last that long, because he was everything. Spruill, his name is Steve Spruill.
Steve Spruill.
And he still thinks he's got to go do that. So he's gonna start it again. But he named the school after me. And I finally, because I wouldn't let him do it for a long time. But he named, and he was a taskmaster, and he taught every subject. And some of those kids went to college.
Was he one of your band students?
It was a flag.
A flag.
Oh, a man flag. I have men flags.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. He was protect the girl. He was that for a while. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That is,
Interesting.
And
Interesting.
he's still talking about starting the school. He's in Richmond.
he's in Richmond. Okay, all right.
Steve Spruill.
Steve Spruill.
Mhm.
I remember, because I remember something came to the Alumni Association in reference to the school and the youth who were attending the school. So they had sent some information to us at one time.
Yeah, yeah, a few of them graduated before they did. He told everything. He did everything,
Uh-huh.
but he couldn't keep that up.
Yeah.
And nobody could pay enough to keep it going.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
operating out his pocket and everything else.
yeah. I know he
Hmm.
did a few fundraisers, but I don't know how successful he was with the fundraisers that he had put on. So,
Well, it's just a lot.
uh-huh,
A lot.
it is a lot.
He got a lot. He got a lot done. He's still talking about starting
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
to this day.
uh-huh.
I forgot to call him and tell him this was going to be on.
But you tell him he can come back and look at it still. He can either look at it on Facebook, or he can go to Coffee Talk YouTube page and he can see it on that page as well. I'll make sure Ashley knows.
She left me.
I will get it to Ashley so Ashley can tell you.
Yeah, because she.
Look, the amazing thing is Mr. Fears and Horace Savage are a few days apart for
Okay.
birthdays. They're both born in July, and they both reached the young age of 97 in July. Horace Savage is on the 1st, and Mr. Fears, you're on the 23rd. Mrs. Fears on the 23rd. Horace has an Alexis, and Mr. Fears has an Ashley. Wow.
Oh. Yes.
I didn't hear what he said. What she said.
I said Horace has an Alexis, and you have a Ashley. Alexis was
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn. Ashlyn.
Yeah.
He has an Ashlyn. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Her brother named, he was in love with some little girl. He said, "You gonna name this girl?" He said, "Ashlyn, name her Ashlyn." And that's what they did. Oh, boy.
oh,
Mr. Fields, I always wondered about this, and you mentioned earlier about the flag carriers, and these days the flag carriers are a big part of the band. And I was just wondering, do those girls or guys that are dedicated to those flags and those routines, are they able to get scholarships for that, or are they also playing instruments, or can they go to school and be a part of a band, a trial for a band, and get a scholarship doing the flag routines?
Oh, it depends how the money is running.
Depends on what school.
I didn't have any money for that, but I didn't. Cause we didn't have hard scholarships in the house in there. We had what little we had. They had 50, 60, 100, like that. But it wasn't worth. We didn't have that. Now I think they do.
uh-huh.
I think they,
It's a lot different now. It's a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think they put a lot more money into.
The president loves the band.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the president all over the band. She is something.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they just the people from the out west. There's a big parade out west.
Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl came down today and brought the official flag.
Oh,
They had a big deal with it over there. I didn't go because I don't go nowhere.
uh-huh.
But and they brought that,
Hmm.
and I guess they're gonna start because it's pretty. I saw it on this,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't go
Yeah.
because I didn't know how I was gonna set this up. I didn't know if Ashlyn was gonna be here or somewhere else, and I didn't know if my wife was gonna be here because she lost her aunt.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so
My
it's just everything has the same time in it. Everything, all the time.
Everything.
Yes.
That's right.
But my daughter cooks some salmon. Boy, she has finally found what it. Ooh, that salmon was so good.
I think I'm gonna have to come to your house. Miss Ashlyn cooking up a good meal for you, huh?
Yeah, she had that. She did that salmon this time. This is the
Oh.
best she's ever done. I
Okay.
don't know if she may be where she can hear me. I
Uh-huh.
don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I really don't know if she might hear me over there. Ash,
Ash said, I set you up and you're on your own now.
that's
Yeah,
about right.
yeah, you're on your own.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But you know
so,
what,
Colonel?
Ms. Fick, going back to your high school days, was there, and this is an academic question, the kids that took band, did they have a higher proportional rate of graduating high school and also
well,
non-band students?
Tuskegee Institute High School didn't have a band. It was
Okay.
it was in a building on the campus of Tuskegee, but we didn't have a band. You're gonna play in the band, you have to play in the college band.
Right. How about
There were only a few of us who brought them, but had nothing to do with anything really.
Mhm.
But as far as it being something about the brain or anything, no. No, it didn't. Although I've never seen a dumb musician.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
I mean, it's smart in something.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but some of them, some of them.
Mhm.
Everybody knows about the marching bands at the different schools because during the football season, they bring a lot of money and attention. But a lot of people don't know, me being in the orchestra in junior high school gave me appreciation for the concert bands. Because one time we had the opportunity from Waters to play with Norcom's band during a Christmas concert because the orchestra teacher taught at Norcom as well. How important is it for the concert bands? Because I think that takes another level of skill as well, learning some of those traditional pieces that they have to play during a concert band. They just don't always get the attention.
Actually, my favorite is the concert band.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the concert band because they can play some stuff that's. We have my concert bands that are the ones that I'm really proud of because in my high school thing, I think we won about 20 or 30 straight ones.
Mhm.
And that was I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've done concert bands. I used to do produce bands in the summer.
Mhm.
They always gave me the low band. I said, "Give me the low band if you're gonna hire me." And I always had the lie by, and they followed me around like the Pied Piper. And I'm telling you the truth, that was a great thing. Yeah. So I did produce band for years. And I was a sacred black bull, man.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah, because I think they improved your skills a lot because you're playing music like Mozart sometimes and some of those traditional band, big band musicals, music. And you really had to hone your skills
Well,
the
concert band is the one that backs it up. I mean, really, if you got a good concert band, you can have the marching is something else. But I mean,
yeah,
playing music and playing, in tune and doing all that stuff. Yeah, we had nice. I've always had my favorite always has been the concert band.
Mhm.
Because you can get so much music
and not all the marchers play in this concert band, right? Not all the people in the marching band play in the concert band, particularly.
Yes,
not necessarily.
All play.
All of them play. Okay.
It was interchangeable almost. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Mostly.
I think that probably would help
There
your
might be some
recruitment.
exceptions, but mostly they play there.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
What'd you say, James?
No, I'm saying that probably helps your recruitment. You know, I think some of those colleges might want to visit the concert band and see how the bands play. You know, a lot of people can get on the field and march. And I'm not saying that doesn't take a special skill too, but that concert band, I'm just sort of biased towards that because, you know, I was in some of those
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a whole different.
Well, we try to
skill
sound
set.
like a concert band when we're marching. Really,
Oh, okay.
that's beautiful.
And
I
sometimes
think-
that's the difference.
Hey, I think my friend left me.
But we're kind of winding down now. And I guess the question would be to you, Mr. Fields, you know, we're coming to an hour that we've been on here. You know, what would be your advice to up and coming band students that, you know, well, how young should you start and what kind of dedication should you dedicate to being in a band, you know, because it can be an avenue for getting that scholarship to go to college. There's a lot of people that went to college on band scholarships. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to afford college.
I was starting pretty early,
Mhm.
4th or 5th grade, maybe. I would start them, you know, and let them go on through that. And if they're going to play a bigger instruments later on, you know,
Right.
they just don't do things like that like they used to.
Mhm.
They put
Yeah.
everything else in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least expose them to it early. And as time goes on, they either stick with it or they at least had the opportunity to try it. So then
Yeah.
you'll be prepared. So we're going to wind up. Go ahead, Mr. Pierce.
No, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
We're going to wind down and we're going to go ahead, Colonel. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to thank him for everything he's done over these decades of a great life, and all the tens of thousands of people that you have touched over these generations and the multi-generations. And thank you for everything you've done.
But thank you for having me, because I ain't doing nothing no more.
But Mr. Fields, I'm so thankful for this as well. And I want us to be able to get a copy of this into the library at Norcom so that the
Mhm.
students can really hear and know and learn about you and hear your voice and hearing your words, your story as to how you came to Portsmouth and how you came to Norcom High School. And you gave Norcom High School your years from 1952 to 1972. And we were truly blessed by the years that you gave us. And we had the wonderful marching band when you were at Norcom High School. And I just want to say thank you so very much. Thankful to be here with you today. And thank you for the other times when I've had a chance to be in your presence. I thank you so very much.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah, your
Fields, I like
principal
to
in
say,
Norfolk is one of our boys.
Are you talking about Foster?
Yeah, we call him Tree.
Tree.
Yeah, play trumpet.
He played the trumpet. You know, Mr. Fields, my daughter was in his mother had that little band. Remember there were the little green and white uniforms?
Uh-huh.
Mrs. Foster.
Mm-hmm.
When my daughter was just a little girl when she was in elementary school. So you called him Tree. So when I get to Norcom High School, I'm gonna have to talk to Tree who played the trumpet.
Yeah.
And this would be great for the youth at Norcom to see Mr. Fields that Tree was in your band, right?
Yeah, he was in the band. Yeah.
He was in your band. Wow,
Yeah.
you wait until I see him. I got some words for him then, okay?
Mhm.
and Mr. Fields, I'd like to thank you again. And it's been our pleasure here at Portsmouth Coffee Talk PM to have you as our special guest this evening and sharing your experiences and your wealth of knowledge in the band in those three institutions of knowledge. And you mentioned that you were in a band fraternity, but let me mention also you are a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And
Absolutely.
yes,
Look at that.
almost forgot that. So I wanted to get that out there for your brothers out there that are watching. And of course, my dad was one of your brothers as well in the Kappa Alpha Psi. So we appreciate you. And thanks again. And thank Ashlyn for setting everything up for you.
I think Ashley
And,
put it down. I can't. Okay.
So we're gonna end on this.
We can't hear it. We can't hear it. James. James. We can't hear it.
All right, we're gonna have to.
Yes.
So it was no talking out the side of the neck
No
tonight.
talking out the side of
All
your
from
neck.
here.
Amen.
Much love to you. Take care, everybody.
Love you, Mr.
Appreciate
Fields.
you. And thanks
Take
to all
care,
the people
sir.
watching on the Facebook Live tonight. We appreciate you. Mr. Fields, much love to you, brother. Take care.
I
Take
will.
care.
You too.
Okay.
Okay.
And thanks a lot.
We'll celebrate with you in July. Okay.
Say it again.
We'll celebrate with you in July.
Oh. If I can get some help put this, I don't know how to do this thing.
Ashley's coming back.
I don't know.
She's on the way.
Almost afraid to ask.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry about it. I think we're off.
We're off the live
mostly.
stream. Let's go